one of the best examples of the gospel I've ever gotten a chance to hear. And it's made through a story. So it's not directly a story to pull from the Bible, but this is a story that gets to the heart of the Bible. And this is the gospel. So if you would, I'd love to share this story with you. A long time ago, in a place far, far away, there was a king. This king was known for two things. He was known for being both fully loving and fully just. Well, it came to the king's attention one day that someone had been stealing from the king's treasury. And being a just king, he issued a decree that said, whoever was stealing from the king's treasury, upon that person, 10 lashes would be brought down. Well, a few more weeks went by, and they still hadn't found the person, but they came back to the king's throne room, and they said, "Oh, king, someone is still continuing to steal from your throne, from the treasury. What should we do?" And so the king thought it over, and being a just king, he issued a decree that now said, whoever continued to steal from the treasury, upon this person, 40 lashes would be laid down. 40 lashes is a death sentence. And so the king at this point had issued a death sentence for whoever was stealing from the treasury. Well, some more time went by as they went out to try to find this person, and eventually someone came into the king's throne room, hat in hand, head hung, and they said, "Oh, king, be not angry, but we discovered who's been stealing from your throne." And the king was a little bit perplexed and confused because they'd been trying to discover who this was, and he asked, "Who's been stealing?" And again, the servant said, "Oh, king, be not angry. It's your daughter." And upon hearing that it was his daughter who had been stealing from the throne, immediately his face fell and he sent everyone out from his presence. And immediately, out in the countryside, the whole kingdom started to whisper. And they started to ask, well, if he's fully just, will he execute his daughter? That wouldn't make him fully loving. But in the same course, if he let his daughter go, and he showed favoritism, would he be fully just? Well, the day finally arrived a few days later, and the whole kingdom had gathered, and his daughter entered into the throne room. His daughter then, chained, was brought in and tied to a post. And the executioner prepared her for the lashes. And the executioner looked up at the king and he said, "O king, what should we do?" And being a just king, the king said, "Justice must go forth." And so the executioner prepared not a hammer, but a flock. And the scourge rose up. And just as the punishment was about to be rightly rained down on the person who stole from the king shouted, "Stop!" And if it was quiet before, you could hear a pin drop in the throne room as the king descended from his throne, came down to his daughter, and he wrapped his arms around his daughter, who was tied to the post. And he looked at the executioner after tearing his shirt, exposing his own back, and he said, "Now hit her." And the executioner said, "Oh, king, I can't do that without hitting you." And the king said, "Hit her." And so 40 lashes were rained down upon the king. And 40 lashes later, king lay dead. Meanwhile, his daughter, the criminal, went free. My friends, this is the gospel. You and I get to be children of God, sons and daughters, royalty of the King. And even though we are made by Him, wonderfully crafted, and we didn't stand a chance against the destruction that was due to us because we still wanted more, we still stole from the King, we still sinned against Him. In His great love, He knew that the wages of sin are death. And so death had to be rained down, but instead of pouring it on us, He poured that death we deserved upon Himself. And by His wounds, we are healed. And as the sentence was laid upon us, the King descended from His throne, came down to earth in that cradle of Christmas. And Christ bridged that gap, humbling Himself to die the death of a servant, the death on the cross, as our iniquities were laid on Him. And so if you have sin, if you have shame raining down upon you, that judgment that Satan accuses us with, you can remind him and remind yourself that by his wounds, you are healed. That your sin has not only been nailed to the cross, but it's been trampled underfoot and it's been cast in the depths of the sea. Though your sin was red like crimson, it is white like snow. That as far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed your transgressions from you. The good news is your king not only took 40 lashes upon himself to free you, the king not only died on the cross for you, but more than that, he rose again for you. And so by his wounds, your name is engraved on the palms of his hands. And so if you wonder, well, did he really die? Did he really rise? You can be like Thomas and examine the evidence that he really rose from the dead. And the good news that when judgment is passed upon you and death justly comes our way, and we eventually stand before the throne room of God, and we're declared either innocent or guilty, and as we hear the decree of justice must go out and we are guilty, we can be comforted knowing that Christ has covered us. And so as Christ is looked at by the Father, he has taken on our guilt, and we are robed in his righteousness. I would encourage you to know today that because he lives, so too will you live. And you are valuable enough as a child, as a son or daughter, loyal to the King, that he would give his life in exchange for you. My friends, this is the gospel. This is grace. God's riches at Christ's expense. That's grace. God's riches at Christ's expense. He is risen. He is risen